What's up, sexy motherfuckers? Hope you're doing phenomenal. Today we're going to speak about the timeline at which you can manifest or materialize your desired reality. So obviously here, when 10Ms, you can replace the 10M with the goal that you desire to achieve. It could be when Lambo, when desired reality, when successful in every single aspect. So today, again, we're going to speak about more the metaphysical aspect of things, because once you have the clear-cut foundation on how the universe works and how you can leverage it, then naturally over time, everything is going to follow through. First, I want you guys to have the real metaphysical understanding and foundations that the elites are using. From there on out, we will be in this YouTube channel talking a bit more of micro stuff. So basically how to build on a very profitable online coaching business. And later down the line, I will help you protect your assets, protect your money. Because at the end of the day, if you don't have the clear-cut metaphysical understanding, you won't be understanding why the problems and challenges appear in your life. And therefore you will be moved off-centered. And the worst thing you can do when it comes to entrepreneurship or business and trying to excel in all aspect in general is to be moved off-centered by the problems, because you have a lack of understanding, awareness, and knowledge about why this is happening specifically for you, okay? And as you want to excel in every single aspect, as you want to make millions, as you want to be a millionaire and successful in every single aspect, because that's what I dedicate my time to do, is to help you become a millionaire and successful in every single aspect. Because who gives a fuck if you're an obese fat fuck and you're a millionaire and you are about to die in 3 months? Or who gives a fuck if you have tens of millions of dollars but you lose it all because you're getting manipulated by gold diggers, right? You see, that's kind of like the philosophy that we have here. We want you to not be ending up like all these millionaires that you see online that are depressed after making their first million or their first 10 million or whatever millions they're making, okay? Now, when it comes to this YouTube channel, it's important to understand we first want to get a baseline of mindset and metaphysical understanding, so you have this awareness and knowledge allowing you to stay stoic. Then from here on out, I will make a few more technical videos about building an online business, profitable online coaching consultant and expert business model. By the way, I don't understand why everybody's like online coaching and consultant. It's the same fucking thing. You know, when you are spammed with those ads, oh, you know, online coaches and consultants, it's the same fucking thing. But it's, you know, consultant is just a fancy word to say coach for business. But either way, my point is we are going to dive later down the line deep into technical aspect of things. So subscribe if you haven't done that already, but don't subscribe if you're not taking notes, because at the end of the day, my goal is for you to have results, not just pastime. And later down the line, I will teach you how to protect your assets, because at the end of the day, the first step of wealth building is making money. The second step is to protect your money. Okay, cool. So grab yourself a little coffee. If you're a coffee drinker like me, or a tea or whatever it is, grab a piece of paper, take notes, because it's important. I don't want you to just waste your time. You're going to spend a few minutes with me, so hopefully this is useful for you. Let's grab a bit of coffee and let's get started. So, the timeline at which 10Ms, Lambo, desired reality depends on different factors. Of course, here today we're going to speak more about the symptoms that is going to be linked to every single step of the progression of your physical materialization of the desired reality, okay? I'm not gonna tell you, oh, in 3 months, you're gonna be a millionaire, or 6 months, or a year, or anything like that, because that depends on many different factors. That depends obviously on the health, on the hand that you've been dealt with, on your education, on your environment, on the opportunities that you have, on your knowledge, on what type of business model you're using, right? You may see 22-year-old become millionaires in 6 months, or in 12 months, and then you have people, it takes like a few years, 5 years, decades, 20 years. It depends on different factors. Now, what we're gonna speak of though is the symptoms at which level that you can recognize and say, okay, now I'm aware that I'm at that level, okay? Metaphysically, it's going to make sense. So first and foremost, the first step for you to make 10Ms or the desired reality or whatever it is to realize, okay, you're sick and tired of your situation. You're sick and tired of being sick and tired. So therefore, the number one thing is you have an idea. You're like, okay, I want to change my situation. So it's going to be a thought. Let's say, for instance, in our example, it's going to be 10 million or a million or Lambo or whatever it is, right? So you're going to have a thought. You're like, okay, right now I'm working a 9 to 5, or I have my business that is stagnating or whatever it is. And you are sick and tired of being sick and tired. So your thought is, okay, now I have my goal, which is going to be, for instance, in the case example here, is going to be 10Ms, right? In the example of this video. But obviously, the 10Ms can be replaced with whatever desired reality or desired goal that you have. Cool. Now that you have this goal, it's not enough, okay? It's not enough to just have a goal, obviously. The thing that you need to understand metaphysically is that you want to densify this goal to start to send out stronger electromagnetic signals in the field, in the ether, in the quantum field, okay? Or the Akashic records for some people who are more spiritual here. So we want to create a densified image of your goal, okay? This densified image is literally going to be done via visualization, okay? Visualization. Okay, so your goal, instead of just saying, okay, I want to make 10 M's, you need to realize that your subconscious mind and your mind in general thinks in terms of images, not words, not spoken English words, nor text, okay? It thinks in terms of images. So we want to create a clear-cut image, which visualization. Yeah, that's a U, by the way. That's not a fucking V. We want to create a clear image linked to our goal, okay? So for instance, in the case of the 10 M's, it would be you look at your phone, you look at the bank statement of your bank, for instance, and then you see $10 million, okay? Whatever bank statement you're using, by the way, if you're using only one bank, I would recommend using several. That's called anti-fragility, especially nowadays with the hacks that are going, with the identity theft, or with all the stuff that is going on with AI. I would highly recommend you looking deep into anti-fragility, the concept of itself. And if you want me to create a video about anti-fragility, how to become anti-fragile in this AI world, then you let me know and I will create a masterclass about this. But either way, several bank, whatever it is, right? Several fintech apps or traditional banks, etc., in different types of places, especially if we're dealing with millions, you always want to have some kind of leverage and some kind of anti-fragility assets, basically, okay? Anti-fragile assets. So visualization with the 10M. So for instance, it could be you looking at your phone and looking at your bank statement or your bank in general and you're seeing 10M. But always the same picture. Do not, after a month, change the picture that you're using, okay? The problem is if you're changing the picture that you're using, it's like you're sending mid-order, like a restaurant, you're sending in mid-order another order. So it's going to take even more time, right? Trust when you're sending the order to the universe with a clear-cut visualization, because every single time you visualize an image over and over and over again every single day for a year, you're sending the same order over and over and over and over again, okay? So when you send this order, don't try to send another order, okay? Because then the waiter, the universal waiter, is going to be obviously a bit confused. Cool. So now that we have a densified image, a visualization that you do every single day of the clear-cut image, try also to feel it, okay? Feelings, it's important. Try to feel it. The stronger the feelings this image creates, the stronger the signal you're sending to the universe, okay? Now, obviously, over time, the feelings are going to start to evaporate because you're getting used to this image over and over again. That's fine. But first, you're going to feel some types of feelings. Make sure you feel really, truly and deep in your heart, gratitude, excitement, all of these good emotions that you would feel if you had actually 10 M's in the bank, okay? But over time, of course, it's going to evaporate. That's fine. Still do it every single day. Do not strain your mind with trying to feel something that you don't want to feel, but every single day, even though the feelings have evaporated, continue doing the visualization, because when they have evaporated, that means basically that it's starting to get normal for your mind. And that's, my friend, is when the magic starts to happen, because your subconscious mind does not make the difference between fact and fiction. That's the beautiful thing. That's why nightmare hurts. When you wake up from a nightmare, you still have some kind of like hurt in your body, because your subconscious mind does not, and your mind does not know how to make the difference between fact and fiction, which is why we're using this imagination, right? That is more real than people think it is, right? People think that imagination is just imagination. No. It's the source of fucking reality, okay? That's why, for instance, Edison, Einstein, and all these geniuses, they connected to the quantum field, to infinite intelligence, to intuition, to imagination, and they were able to bring it and physicalize it into material form, okay? Edison, for instance, with the light bulb. Cool, so visualization feeling. Now, you have this densified image. Now, the step 3 is you're gonna have an identity shift. Oh yeah, by the way, sorry, I have so many ideas that I want to share with you guys. I'm so excited. Identity shifting. For the densified image, something, please note it down. The easier something is to visualize, the closer it is to your desire, to you right now. I'm not gonna get into too many parallel universes or many worlds model here, but the easier something is for you to visualize, the closer it is to your physical reality, okay? So at first, it may seem a bit strange, right? You visualize the 10Ms, you're like, but can I really make it? But over time, you're gonna see, the more you visualize, the more you're gonna convince your mind that you're actually worth 10Ms by the identity shifting, and therefore the universe is going to start to align things for you to materialize it in physical reality. Cool? So it's important, the easier something is to visualize, the closer it is to your desired reality. The desires that you have and the ease you have to visualize something is basically a bleed through from a parallel universe. Either way, not going to get into too much depth here, but just follow through these symptoms and you'll see how powerful this can be. Cool. So then over time, you're going to feel an identity shift, okay? So the symptom of this is going to be that you are going to feel more confident, convinced every single day. So your confidence, and people are going to start to call you crazy. Now, I would recommend not necessarily speaking to low consciousness people about your goals and stuff like that, because that opens you up to doubts, right? Most people are on average low consciousness at best. So you would not necessarily, even with your parents, you would not necessarily speak about them or telling them that, you're a decamillionaire or you're going to be a decamillionaire, because they're going to be like, hey, calm down. We're not meant for success. Success is not meant for us. So I would recommend keep it to yourself, or keep it with your clients, your brothers, or whatever business partners that are as ambitious or as high consciousness as you, because then you don't let doubters, or the doubt, which is one of the most potent killers of dreams and killers of goals, enter and penetrate your mind. So you're going to start to feel more confident. You're going to start to embody really this desired reality, and you're going to be called crazy. And most people were champions in the minds and millionaires in the minds before they became millionaires in real life. So really and truly, you're going to start to feel different when you walk every single day on a day-to-day basis. And that really truly is going to change your frequency and change your vibration. Change your frequency and change your vibration. And my friends, you're going to feel more joyful, more excited, because it's as if 10Ms were already manifested. How would you think? How would you act? How would you behave? What would you say? How would you speak? How would you dress? How would you do anything if you already had the desired reality of 10Ms, right? Let me circle it in red for you guys to really remember that this is the fucking goal, okay? Well, obviously, if you're worth 10Ms, you wouldn't speak in scarcity mode, fear-based manner, right? You wouldn't take actions like brokies, like bro people, right? You wouldn't do that. So your frequency, your vibration, and your identity will start to change. Now, this increases your frequency and your vibration, which is going to send out even stronger signals to the field. And then there is a concept that I love from Carl Jung, which is a famous psychologist and philosopher. Either way, you get the point. Like, so some words, it's weird. In English, some words I'm struggling to say. I don't know. But either way, so there is this concept of collective unconscious, okay? And what does that basically say is simply that all subconscious minds are connected to a field, quantum field, ether, unconscious, from which stems all ideas. So the unconscious collective. That's the second time I'm making the mistake. I wanted to write collective unconscious. There we go. Collective unconscious. Now, why is this important? And how can you know that your vibration has now entered the collective unconscious? How can you be so sure? Well, people are going to now start to react to you differently. They're going to start to be magnetized to you. Your aura is going to be different, and they're going to feel it. Your aura is different. Collective unconscious is simply the subconscious mind, the universal subconscious mind, if you will. It's basically this place in the ether where all ideas, infinite intelligence, all ideas stems from, and all subconscious minds are connected, okay? So collective unconscious. your aura is going to be different, and because your identity has sent out so many electromagnetic signals and vibration into the collective unconscious, they naturally now start to know that you are connected to your goals, and they can feel, without knowing it, they feel it unconsciously that you are related, corresponding, feeling vibration of your goal, 10Ms, right? So not knowing how, people are going to start to be magnetized to you because your aura is going to be different, because you change your identity, okay? So that's 4. Number 5, this is when it gets real funny. This is when it gets real funny. Now, people are going to start to dream about you. I'm going to tell you a little story. Dreams plus intuition it's a subject I'm so excited about. By the way, this is a subject like I'm doing the same mistake because I want to give you so much value, guys, but I'm so excited. Intuition. Let me write this down, and then let me tell you what I wanted to tell you. Plus intuition of others. Okay. Dream plus intuition of others. This is the timeline at which something materialized. This is really something that I've been obsessed with for 2 years. And by the way, this is not just out of my ass. This is really something that comes from dozens of books, super specific technical books on the subject, from Metaphysical master, top 1% metaphysical masters, top 1% psychologists, psychiatrists, hypnotherapists, and neuroscientists, and top 1% businessmen who have created massive amount of business. That way, you can know that we have the universal confirmation, the neuroscience confirmation, and also the practical confirmation, which stems from the business people. All of these confirmed and validated from my top level mentors in metaphysics, philosophy, psychology, neuroscience, business, investment. Your identity shifting allows you to send a stronger vibration to the collective unconscious. The collective unconscious then are going to magnetize people more to you, and then now it starts to become the next time, because you continue visualizing, you continue embodying the shift, and you continue being more magnetizing. Now people are going to start to have dreams and intuition of others. Most people think that dreams are just dreams, they're not to be taken care of. Let me tell you, my friends, this is not the fucking case. It's funny because, I don't know if you know about this meme curve of the IQ curve. There is this meme curve, and you have on the lower end of the IQ people saying, I trust God, I trust the universe, or I know God, I know the universe, because it's kind of like they consider this as the end all be all because they've been programmed this way, right? And then you have the majority saying, science says that, there is no greater architect and there is no vibration and stuff like that, and basically that spirituality is bullshit. And then you have the higher IQ people and the billionaires, every single one of them, or not every single one of them, you always have kind of the exception to the rule, but a lot of them saying, of course, spirituality is the source of everything. The fabric of reality is actually made of the intangible more than the tangible. And they know God, they trust God and stuff like that. So it's funny because dreams, intuitions, and all that stuff, it's mere science that has yet to be discovered and properly ordered. Dreams and intuition, they're going to start to dream about you and have intuitions about you, because every single person has the same capacity. It's just a matter of removing the bullshit programming that prevents you from having these extrasensorial capacities, but also we are all energy sensors. So your vibration in the collective unconscious, the more you're stacking up these vibrations, the more dense it becomes. And a vibration that is denser and denser and denser and denser and denser comes into the dimension of the material, aka the 3D world, our physical world that we call Earth. Okay? So this is from, let me write it down here with green. This is less dense vibration. Vibration. And this is more dense or denser. You get the point. More dense vibration. Okay? The more dense the vibration, the more coincidences is going to happen. But As Einstein said, coincidences is God's way of remaining anonymous, aka coincidence doesn't exist. And in Hebrew, ancient Hebrew, coincidence is no word. Like, it's not a word. It doesn't exist. The word coincidence doesn't exist. And in Hebrew tradition, if a word doesn't exist, except for the new words that we invent with science, with scientific discoveries, if a word doesn't exist in ancient Hebrew, it should be usually treated with skepticism. Okay? Cool. So now people are going to start to dream of you. But they're not necessarily going to say, at first, oh yeah, I saw you with 10 M's in the bank. At first it's going to be, I feel like you're going to be successful. I dreamt of you being very successful. They're going to see kind of like symptoms of your wealth, of your desired reality. And over time, these dreams are going to be, and intuitions of others are going to be more and more and more. You're going to have more and more people in your close surroundings, and then more and more people in less close surroundings that are going to have those dreams and intuition, because your thought and your densified image and the vibration, this idea is becoming more and more and more and more dense into the collective unconscious, and people are starting to dream and have this intuition about you. Now, let me remove all of this. We keep the goal, and then let's get to step 6. And obviously, we're going to speak about like the speed at which you can physicalize all of this and materialize your goal. Again, it depends on your environment, your surroundings, the people that you have, the opportunities that you have already. But you can build everything from scratch, and you can have much better opportunities when you change your environment. Perfect. So now we're going to speak about step number 6, which is going to be synchronicities. Synchronicities. That's step number 6. That's the symptom of step number 6 of the timeline. You start to see things that are weird, or you start to see things that are related to your desired reality. So let's say, for instance, you want a Lambo. Classical example. You start to want a Lambo, you've done all the steps before, you're kind of like identifying yourself with a Lambo owner. You start to act like a Lambo owner, not like a douchebag obviously, but like, a higher level identity. You start to send that to the unconscious. People are starting to be more magnetized to you. You then have some friends, some girlfriends, whatever it is, dreaming about you in a Lambo, for instance. And then now, weirdly enough, you start to see synchronicities. You start to see a first degree of your goal, a first degree of materialization of your goal. And how will we then see this? What is the clear-cut sign? Is you start to see your goal everywhere. So in this case would be, for instance, Lambos everywhere. In this case, you would start to see wealth everywhere. Realize that there is a lot of wealth around you because your awareness and your perception is changing. So you start to see wealth everywhere, or money everywhere, right? Wealth, money everywhere. Random occurrences, right? Everywhere. Maybe even like you think it's just a coincidence, but actually you start to speak to an acquaintance and he shows you his bank account for some reason, and then boom, you start to see 10 M's, for instance. That could be an example. Or you start to speak with people and they mention investments around your goal. Let's say, for instance, I've invested in this and then I've invested 10 M's, or I've gotten 10 M's from this investment, whatever it is. Start to see synchronicities linked to your goal. And by the way, obviously don't be autistic about it, because we see here that it could be wealth and money everywhere, but it could be other signs of wealth, right? It could be other signs of wealth. So stay open-minded about the signs here, because it could be other signs of wealth, other signs. So you start to see synchronicities, and synchronicities, again, it's like those coincidences that are linked to your goal, basically, and nothing happens by accident. The 7th step is synchronized actions. Synchronized actions. What does this mean? You're going to start to feel compelled to do certain actions that are linked to your goal, but you don't necessarily understand that these are linked to your goals. Let's say, for instance, you feel compelled to one day you want to read, spend 2 hours on Investopedia, or you want to read investment journal or magazine, or you want to read a company's report, finance report, for instance. You start to kind of like have these intuitive actions that are linked to your goal. Or for instance, let's say that your goal was to have a Lambo, something more material. You will start to then feel compelled to customize your Lambo on the Lambo website, for instance, etc., etc., etc. So you're going to take synchronized actions that feel intuitive. But again, these synchronized actions are not only you. Now, people are going to start to show up. Specific type of people are going to, the universe is going to realign everything for you to start to see the people that would help you get to your goal, the opportunities, the right amount of actions, etc., etc. So you're going to start to see the right people, the right opportunities, and the right actions. And they won't necessarily feel right at the moment because you don't have the higher perspective yet. But if you follow through the right people that show up in your life, the right opportunities and the right actions, soon enough, you'll start to have number 8 is going to be the first result. Physical materialization. Okay? Physical materialization. And you're going to start to have the first results that are linked to your goal. First results linked to your goals. Your goal. A reminder, only one goal, okay? Not 30,000 different orders for the universe. Focus on one goal and one goal only that is overarching what you're trying to achieve. So 10M, for instance, would be an overarching goal. A non-overarching goal would be, for instance, having 10K followers. It's not an overarching goal, right? It doesn't mean anything. Cool. So physical materialization. You're going to start to see the first results linked to your goal. And then over time, you continue doing all of this, right? And you continue, and then you're going to start to progressively have your goal. Then you're going to have your goal materialized into physical form. So a first result linked to your goal could be, for instance, you have an opportunity to invest in something that will after 2 months make you a 1M, for instance, 1 million. Or you have a realization on how you can increase the amount of leads in your business that will necessarily get you to 1M per month. Or in this case, it would be around $833,000 per month for you to get to 10M in a year, for instance, right? So those are the first results. Or it could be as little as you now know somebody that wants to include you in a project that will get you to 10Ms, for instance, right? That's the first physical materialization. Do not treat it as something to dismiss. Most people are too arrogant and not humble enough to understand that the universe has a higher perspective, or the higher self, or whatever you want to call it, God's plan, right? God's plan versus your plan. This is literally how to see the symptoms of God's plan, okay? How to recognize God's plan is literally these steps, okay? And God's plan has a higher perspective. He has an infinite awareness. So do not be arrogant saying to yourself like, no, I want the 10Ms to come from this side when I want it. No, this is why some people speak about divine timing. This is why some people with the same talents, same genetics, same whatever, one have success and is able to generate 10Ms in 2 months or 3 months or whatever it is, and then another is going to take 2 years or 20 years. Now, obviously, there is some stuff that we can control to time collapse all of this success. If you've been following the videos, you know which actions to take to time collapse everything and to make sure that your success is as quick as possible. But again, don't enter this with a get-rich-quick scheme mentality, because otherwise you're never going to make it. Your vibration is going to be unauthentic. When you start to have this physical materialization coming from another side that you didn't think was going to come from, do not be arrogant and do not dismiss or reject that materialization. Cool? And last but not least, no, it's 9. Last but not least, stabilization of new level. Meaning, when you get to 10M, treat it as normal, okay? Treat it as normal. Treat it as normal. Don't make the mistake of being like 10Ms. The number of millionaires or the number of people that weren't ready because they didn't really embody the identity, for instance, lottery winners, they didn't necessarily embody the true identity and they didn't stabilize this new level, they went back to the old level, okay? Just imagine, you've done all this work with the universe, in alignment with the universe, and then boom, you fuck it up because you're like, oh, you're being a pussy because you can't handle 10Ms. It's also why it's important, here it's a macro perspective, but also in micro actions, it's also important to surround yourself with trustworthy experts, okay? So for instance, an accountant, a bookkeeper, investment mentors, whatever it is, right? Whatever your investment vehicle, right? It could be high yield placements, real estate, crypto, whatever it is, or financial experts at least, but not traditional. I wouldn't recommend traditional financial experts. I would recommend based financial experts, because financial experts are the experts from your bank, the traditional bank, and they are just regurgitating what they've learned while not being rich themselves and while not having 10Ms in the bank, while not having the level of success that you have, okay? So that's why it's important, starting now, even though you're not at 10Ms yet, or even if you're not at 1M yet, or even if you are not at 100K yet, it is important for you to grow your network list, okay? It's important for you to grow your contact list and grow, and I'm not talking about obviously everybody, okay? You use discernment, be intelligent, use awareness to see whom has the right energy, is intuitively authentic, okay? But it's important for you starting now to build your contact list, because it's inevitable. If you do everything that I'm telling you to do in this channel, it's inevitable that you're going to reach your desired reality. It's inevitable, okay? The only thing that you don't want to do is let doubt take place, or let doubters fuck up your plan, or not trust the universe and not trust the process and not trust your own faith, okay? But starting now, this is why you need to develop your contact list, mentors, specifically mentors, because if you, let's say, for instance, have 5 great mentors, they will be able to give you access to somebody in their contact list that is trustworthy, as based as them, and you will not be fucking up your 10Ms because you followed the traditional system or traditional ways of investing things, okay? So stabilization of new level, extremely important. Treat it as normal. You've done all this work, treat it as normal. It's part of your new identity now. And what you need to do then is design a new goal. New goal. It's extremely important. Don't rest on your laurels. If you do, you're gonna end up like all these millionaires that are depressed when they make their first million, their first 10Ms, their first 100Ms. You need a new goal. This life is about progression. It's not about the finish line. We call this, the universe, infinite for a reason. Infinity is called for infinity for a reason. It's because there is no end to this game called life, okay? So this is where it's a really dense vibration, because it's part of your reality now, physical reality. But you see how you need to come from this macro perspective of less dense vibration to all the way to then more dense vibration. And again, as a reminder, you need to be first rich in the mind before you get rich in the bank. So at first it's going to be a thought, then a visualization, a densified image that you hold consistently in your mind. You're embodying it every single day with your identity. Progressively, you will start to have people magnetized to you because they can feel your vibration, because your identity is your vibration and frequency. So they can feel your $10 million worth vibration. So they're going to be naturally magnetized to you, because you don't get to 10Ms without doing something right. Except if you're a crypto kid and then you lose it all, but that's another subject for another video. Then people who are spiritually connected, or at least intuitively connected, they're going to start to have intuitions and dreams about you, validating that you are indeed sending the right vibration in the collective unconscious, the ether, the quantum field, and the Akashic records, because that's the first degree of materialization in their thought, because it's so strong now that it's not only in your mind, it starts to spread out to the collective unconscious and clearly in the mind of your peers. And then synchronicities, seeing wealth, money everywhere, the Lambo, whatever it is, the Ferrari, the car that you want, the money that you want, you're going to start to have clear-cut sign in physical reality, not necessarily you, but other people, right? And then you're going to start to have intuitive actions, synchronized actions that are going to feel intuitive in terms of ideas, feel a bit weird at the time because they're disconnected and you don't have the right amount of awareness to see that it actually makes sense in the grand scheme of things. And then when you see the right opportunity, the right people, and the right action, then you take action on those, then you start to have the first result linked to your goal, and you continue doing this until you have the goal, and then you stabilize the new level, and you need to treat it as normal, okay? Normal. It's normal for you, it's your birthright to be successful in all aspects. It's your birthright to be abundant. It's your birthright to be opulent. It's your birthright to become the best version of yourself, to be the best looking, good looking version of yourself, the most loved version of yourself, the most abundant and the most opulent and affluent version of yourself, okay? Do not fall into the mediocre societal conditioning that conditions you every single day to think that the world is a bad place, that the world is out to get you. No, if you believe this way and if you think this way, you'll never, ever, ever be successful. Prosperity is linked to prosperity consciousness, meaning that prosperity can only happen if you see the world and the universe as part of you and you part of it, and you treat it as your best friend. And it is your best friend. It's simply a matter of perspective, okay? So you need to treat and see the world as a beautiful, wonderful place that is here to give you all the opportunities that you want, but you need to capitalize and you need to understand how the rules of the games are played, which is why I'm dedicating my time to making these videos for you to understand what I've learned after 7 to 9 years of pure personal development, and after 3 years of metaphysical understanding, 5 years of psychology, deep psychology, neurohacking, and all that stuff, and 9 years of personal development, mindset-wise, etc., and obviously building figure businesses, online coaching, education, expertise, all of this, and surrounding myself with world-class experts and mentors. Hope everything makes sense. Don't forget to, after the stabilization of the new level, to recreate a new goal, update it, okay? Update the new goal, so whatever it is, right? It could be building schools now in Nepal, or whatever it is, right? A new goal in another aspect of your life, or humanitarian goal. See you soon, sexy motherfuckers. Peace.